Good evening and welcome back to another live stream. We are in recovery mode and tonight we're going to cover all the day's moves in the market. What's happening? Have we bought the dip? Are people buying the dip? and where do we think the market is going from here? We've got loads of questions that came in CC Pro over the last 24 hours. We're going to get to most of those, and we are going to look at the price of silver and some things that are happening in the stock market, which people should probably pay attention to. Good to see so many people in. We'll get to the chat in a second, but let's have a look at the prices as we stand. So Bitcoin up at $115,800, trying to make that recovery after the weekend's chaos. To be fair, yesterday's candle was quite a nice one, but Sundays you can't really trust. Up nearly 4% yesterday, and then we're up another just shy of 1% today, with the altcoin market taking the lead today and dominance starting to fall. Does look like we are going to put in that third higher low. That's a really bullish pattern. It's called 3 rising valleys, and normally it leads to an explosive move in the final move of that pattern. So Bitcoin looks pretty bullish from here. Higher low despite the biggest liquidation in crypto history. Kind of tells you everything you need to know. The fact that Bitcoin didn't drop even further today with the stock market opening. Trump obviously walked back the tariff threat and the whole China thing. We've kind of seen this playbook before. Trump announces something over the weekend, markets react in crypto, and then before the stock market can open, the decision's been reversed. Meanwhile, crypto gets absolute ragdolled all weekend, and the stock market barely flinches. So, one of the top questions I want to cover today is, are you waiting to buy the dip for another correction, or have you bought the dip? Somebody asked us earlier to cover this, or they were asking in CC Pro, so we'll chat about that later. Ethereum up nearly 3%, looking really strong, back above that kind of $4,100 level. 4260 looking pretty strong, and it looks like it could continue pumping into the night. XRP back above the daily 200 MA, which is bullish, as you know if you follow us. We talk a lot about the 200-day moving average. So it sits at 258. A daily close above this, to me, would be pretty bullish. I really want us to reclaim this green box just here. So if we can reclaim that in the next kind of 72 hours, that would be pretty bullish for me. I don't expect it to happen overnight. I don't expect it to just fly back up, but I do think we'll get there by the end of the week. And then we've got obviously BNB making a new all-time high today, hitting that $1,375 level. A massive move, and yeah, we'll probably not dwell too much on Binance and BNB. Obviously, we need to talk about silver. Silver is trading insane right now. If you've been following us for a while, and by a while I mean anything over 12 months, you'll know we've spoke about silver for ages. We've been buying for 3 years now at this point, for me personally. Silver on an absolute monster move, up at $52. I stupidly thought that the top was in for metals last week. How wrong that call was. Luckily didn't sell any, although the premiums for buying right now, although silver's trading at $52 an ounce, I've seen people getting charged anything up to $70 because there's just no stock of physical silver anywhere. And yeah, it's there's a massive short squeeze going on. So London COMEX, which holds a lot of physical silver, apparently is empty, and they're importing silver from New York, which, I mean, I don't know how easy it is, but I would imagine that's going to take a bit of time. So yeah, I expect silver to continue to rally. $75, probably another psychological level we'll get to very soon at this rate. And gold obviously putting in a new all-time high today as well, up above $4,100. So metals absolute flying, and the bond market was closed today, so not too much volatility there. All right, let's see who's in the chat, and then we'll cover some CC Pro questions, and then we'll try and get to the chat. Let's see, Vinny's in. Vinny's asking if we've given up on leverage trading because of Friday. I think, you know what, if you're in crypto and you're not expecting at some point you're going to get absolutely hammered by the market, then it's probably not the right market. On top of that, I think what does give me some bullishness is that I see what happened on Friday as like a one in, I kind of want to say 10-year event, but let's say 5-year event. You get a massive sell-off that just rips through the entire market. We had COVID, and now we've got Friday. So what that means is I can't see it happening again to the extent. We're going to have 30% corrections. We're going to have massive sell-offs. We're going to have cascading liquidations. That's just life in crypto. But the chaos that we saw on Friday, the level of it, that's kind of behind us now, and we can start moving forward. The other thing is it will have put a lot of people off leverage trading, and that's bullish for price movement upwards. Exchanges try and wipe out leverage all the time. They try to flush leverage. The less leverage in the system, the less volatility in the price moves, because a lot of the price moves are designed to just liquidate traders. So the lower the open interest stays, which is the amount of leverage, the better for price appreciation. And all the liquidity now sits above us. There's about 10 to 15 billion worth of shorts above us. So I would imagine we go after that very soon. So yeah, not being put off at all. Let's see what else is happening. I saw somebody saying Niall thought it was a bit over dramatic. I mean, yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. Like all these influencers, it's amazing when you see these influencers that just happen to not have any positions open, rather than just admit they got liquidated like everybody else. Like it's crypto. Yeah, I saw a video today of somebody saying that they just happened to close all their positions on Friday morning. Yeah, of course they did. So yeah, I think it was dramatic, but to be honest, it was a $20 billion liquidation event. I think people are entitled to be a bit dramatic about it, but it's time to move on. The market is looking bullish, and I think we will recover from here. Deck's doing a shift in the pub. Not sure. Pouring pints is his game, if I'm honest. But yeah, I wanted to talk about Iron as well. So Iron is a Bitcoin miner. We actually have CC Pro, which is a private members community, and then we have CC Pro Alpha. We called Iron as a really good buy price. It was the 20th of November, so it was trading sub $4 when we called this to our Alpha members. As you can see, it is now up over 1,700%. So almost a 20x. I think actually if you bought in at the start of that week, you did get a 20x out of it. So yeah, huge move, and Bitcoin miners just look insane right now, which is nice. And then just before we move on, I keep hearing this, crypto's so volatile. This is the Tesla chart, it's pretty volatile. This is the Nvidia chart, it's pretty volatile. Like, I think nothing's as volatile as crypto, but the stock market is very volatile to certain people. Volatility is all personal. If you don't look at prices and you only check them once a month, then volatility means nothing. It doesn't matter what asset you hold. But if you check hourly prices, then volatility is going to matter to you. So yeah, the stock market's volatile in its own way. And the other problem with the stock market is the volatility means you can't do stuff out of hours. So if the stock market crashes on Friday, you can't take advantage of buying the dip until Monday morning. By then, if we saw today, for example, the stock market had bounced. So that's the difference between crypto volatility and stock market volatility. But I keep hearing that, crypto's so volatile and this would never happen in the stock market. The stock market's volatile as well. And you look at these big sell-offs that we've had, and this is a multi-trillion-dollar index, still volatile. And there's arguably more insider trading in the stock market. So yeah, but altcoins, let's look at the altcoin chart. Actually, total 2 looks to be trying to recover, up a couple of percent today. Good to see others move nearly 4%. So the others chart is the crypto market excluding the top 10 coins. This is probably where the majority of people watching this stream hold their majority of their holdings in smaller altcoins. So good to see it recovering and leading the charge today, and that's obviously helped bring dominance down by nearly or just over 0.5%. I did say that I don't think we'll put in a new high for dominance. Somebody's called for 70% on Twitter. Don't think that's going to happen. I think the dominance high is in. This is just about a dead cat bounce. We might go up to this blue line, but I don't even know if we will now after today's recovery. All right, let's talk questions from CC Pro. So, I think his name's Ali. I'm sure his name's Ali, because I'm sure he corrected me the other night. So Ali asked, he has stable coins sitting on the sidelines and he's patiently waiting for another dip. So let's go back to Bitcoin. Let's just focus on Bitcoin. In fact, we can use the total market cap because it's probably better. Let's look at the altcoin chart, because most people aren't going to be buying Bitcoin at this stage in the cycle. So the problem with waiting for another dip is the chances of you getting one is quite slim, I would say, and especially back down to the lows. So yeah, we could come down and fill these wicks. Of course we could, it's crypto. So tomorrow we could see a 10% sell off and you get a chance to deploy that capital. In my opinion, max pain for anyone right now is to the upside. There's loads of shorts and there's loads of people on the sidelines not allocated to crypto. So if prices fly from here, it's actually going to be more painful than dropping. I think a lot of people will be sitting in stables waiting to try and buy lower. They think that they're going to get a double bottom. But if we look back, so June was Iran, Israel, kicked off. You literally got one wick and then we moved. If we go to, is this April? Yeah, this is the tariff drama. So tariff drama, we got one wick low, one red candle, and then the next day was green. So as you can see, there's a trend. You don't really get much time to buy the dip. You can see here, this was some kind of world war back in 2024. World War 3, 4, 5, kind of lose count at this point. Something to do with war, or yeah, I'm sure it was Iran. It's always Iran. But again, one dip and then a green candle. Yeah, you kind of got another chance to buy, but again, you would have had to be quick. So for me, I think if you're sitting in stables, obviously not financial advice, do what you want, but you could miss the opportunity to actually buy these dips. And at what point do you capitulate? So if, for example, if you wanted to buy, let's just pick any coin. Let's pick Dogecoin. In fact, let's pick Uniswap. So Uniswap was down Saturday. It was trading around $5. So if you didn't buy Saturday, fear, fine, that makes sense. But when do you give in and just buy? Because do you wait till it gets to 776 or do you buy here? And then the other point is, it depends on your goal long term. But I like Uniswap. I think Uniswap's going to do an all-time high this cycle. So from here, let's just say it goes, and let's just use December's high for Uniswap. If Uniswap moves from $7.01 right now, if it goes back to the December high, it's 178% move from here. Well, if it dips back to the bottom of this candle and it moves to the December high, it's 197%. Is it worth gambling on that pullback for those extra percent? It's 20%, which is fair enough. But in the grand scheme of things, you're getting almost a 200% move anyway. So I think you need to weigh up the opportunity cost versus the opportunity missed. If you don't buy the dip today and wait for the next few days and we don't get the pullback, you're either going to buy in higher or you're going to have missed the chance completely and you're not going to be able to buy in. That doesn't mean I'm saying go and throw money at the market right now, because we obviously are, it's a green day, we're up quite high. But I would consider like average buy price, what your long-term goal is, and yeah, just be cautious that you might not get that pullback. I've saw a lot of people talking about Solana coming back down to the 200-day moving average. I just don't see it happening. Up 5% today. Sol futures went live today. Sol ETFs probably going to go live this month at some point. You've got Sol treasury companies, which is another story. I just don't see it. So for me, I would be very cautious of sitting on your hands at times like this. We've had a massive pullback. Projects are back to prices. You look at XRP. It's not been this cheap since before July. So you've basically reversed a few months worth of price action. So Cardano, I think, had quite a bad sell-off as well. So yeah, everybody's got to make their own mind up, but if you're not buying here and you're waiting on a dip, you could get left behind, would be my only concern. So yeah, I wanted to cover that because it's something that I've saw a lot about, is a lot of people talking about waiting for another pullback before they deploy. We've also got this chart. So this chart is the amount of stable coins in crypto as a percentage of the overall market cap. At times where there's a sell-off, it peaks, and it tops in the market, it bottoms. As you can see, we've not had any follow through today, which means people are deploying into the market. This is a key chart to keep an eye on over the next few days. If this starts falling, then it just means that there's a rush of capital into the markets, which is going to be very bullish. Also, somebody keeps asking me about, or somebody keeps posting about these big traders on Twitter. So we had James Wynn. They use DEX futures trading, or perps. So everybody can see and track the wallet, so everybody can see the size of their trades. So I think some guy opened a $200 million short today on Bitcoin, and everybody started panicking, suggesting that meant we were going down. A lot of this is just for show. This is to drive hype. This is to drive kind of people to the DEX. Then they go and click. Then they look at it. Then they use it. They visit the website. All that. A lot of it's just to cause noise. I think James Wynn, for example, was really bullish on hype. Now he's switched to BNB DEX as Aster. So you just need to be careful what the motive is behind the person telling you this. Not to mention, James Wynn got blown up his account for $100 million. So just because somebody's short with size, it doesn't mean they're going to be right or make money. It just means that they've got a lot more capital to play with, or they're using the exchange's capital, and when they get liquidated, it's a good news story. It drives a lot of hype to the platform, and then they probably get the money refunded anyway. That's kind of how I think it's working with a lot of them. So yeah, I wouldn't make any investment decisions based on somebody trading with size, especially when they know you can see it. They know everybody's watching their wallets. So yeah, dangerous game. Let's talk about Kairos. So Kairos TG'd today on Jupiter, and then it went live on Swissborg a few hours later. Somebody asked me to cover it. So Kairos is associated with Swissborg. It's built with a couple of the team that used to work at Swissborg. It's basically a restaking platform, and Kairos is the token of the restaking platform. There's a full breakdown on what this means, what this is, and how to use it in CC Pro. Basically, you stake your Solana, you get staked Sol, which is Jito Sol. Then you take the Jito Sol and then you stake it on Kairos. So effectively, you're getting yield from two tokens at once. So you can double up your yield. And Kairos is the token associated with this platform. There's a few of them out there. I think, if anything, we've learned over the last few weeks, you just need to be careful with staking protocols because they are susceptible to risk. I think Kairos will do well. I think it launched at 5 million FDV, so pretty low, and I would imagine it will do pretty well long term. I think right now is probably the worst time to launch a Solana staking product, because 2 weeks ago we had Kiln hacked, and then at the weekend we had the biggest liquidation event. So yeah, I would argue they probably couldn't pick a worse time to launch, but that's bullish because it means that they'll have a nice healthier chart rather than launching a really bullish time and then you can kind of only go down from there. So yeah, that's what Kairos is. kind of bullish on it. I don't hold any. I think I got some airdropped because I've used the staking protocol before. But yeah, it'll probably do, I mean, from 5 million FDV. If they can grow the TVL on the platform, then it could easily do like 10, 20x from there. Easy in the peak of the bull market. Especially because people are going to be looking for ways to earn yield as we start to roll over at the end of the bull. So yeah, I think it could do well. Not much more to say. Let's just, while we're here, let's cover some news and then we'll jump in the chat and we'll go through all your questions. So where are we? So Bitcoin Magazine, Wall Street Bank, Citibank is going to launch Bitcoin and crypto custody services in 2026. This is a huge announcement, not because Bitcoin custody, like who cares? It's more the fact that they're wanting to custody crypto. This will make it so much easier for traditional or just standard people to get into crypto. So long term, what you'll probably have at most banks is your fiat account, you'll have your stablecoin account, you'll probably have a Bitcoin savings account, and then you'll have a crypto account, just like Revolut, basically. So I think that's really bullish for crypto because it's just going to make it very easy to move in and out of crypto. The one thing I would say is generally when the average person on the street is being marketed, that'll mark the top. So if this launches in, say, April 2026, we'll probably find a local top round about there because all the people that don't really understand crypto, they don't understand what's going on in the market, will see it in their account, they'll go and buy some, and that'll give some liquidity for people to exit the market. And unfortunately, that's just the fact of markets. So yeah, I would watch that one. These ones, just quickly, JP Morgan is going to invest 1.5 trillion in critical industries in America, and this one here, US subprime auto loan delinquencies hit record high. I just thought it's quite funny to show I've spoke about the K-shaped economy before, and it basically means that there's two sides to the economy. You've got the rich doing really well, JP Morgan investing in 1.5 trillion, and then you've got the poor people struggling to pay their car loan. This is going to force the Fed's hand, so the Fed's going to have to add liquidity, reduce rates quicker, and this just shows that there's no inflation, there's no recession coming anytime soon. Rare earths, energy, tech, they're all massive narratives that are going to prevent a recession in the US, which is bullish for all assets. So that's kind of the highlights of the news. We're not going to talk about Binance, we're not going to talk about the crash. It happened, we kind of need to move on. Let's see what else is in CC Pro. I think somebody was asking about some AI tokens and Chiliz. Let's cover Chiliz first. Chiliz is a frustrating one because they've done all these fan tokens, they had all these partnerships with football clubs, but then they've done very little from what I can see with that. The fan tokens are a disaster. I don't know anyone that uses them, anyone that holds them. So I think what I would imagine Chiliz will pivot to some form of fan experience with the tokens and incorporate AI somehow. I don't follow Chiliz too well. In terms of price action, yeah, it's kind of been lackluster, just trading in this range. A bit of disappointment for me, to be fair. I thought it would do very well. It did really well in, was it 2022, into the World Cup? The one that was in Qatar? Yeah, here. So this was the World Cup started in November. I'm sure. So yeah, it absolutely rallied hard into the World Cup, and then just fell off a cliff. So yeah, maybe we need something big to happen, but yeah, I don't see a lot of marketing or anything, but I still think it'll do well. And again, it's one of those tokens that the average person on the street that goes to buy their first crypto can probably relate to Chiliz because it's sports. They see their football teams get mentioned. That generally gets people excited because they see big brands. It's like all these tokens that say they use Nvidia or they have a partnership with Nvidia because they use ChatGPT. They all claim they've got a partnership with Nvidia, and that gets the average retail investor excited. So I think Chili's can easily move quickly when there's some retail FOMO in the market. In terms of AI tokens, to be honest, I think you need to be really careful with the AI cryptos. One, because I don't know how much they are actually associated with AI businesses, and two, if there is, so I don't believe AI is a bubble, but I think there is going to be bubble companies within AI. Crypto will be the first to get absolutely exploded if it bursts. So yeah, I would just be careful. I think Fetch AI, I've saw a lot of tweets about it recently. In terms of price action, it's absolutely destroyed. So it's probably a decent entry down here. I think they just closed their partnership with some other AI tokens. But maybe we'll do a stream or a video on cryptos and AI and how to get exposure to the AI trade in crypto. That might be quite a good idea for a stream, and it gives us a chance to actually dive into what element of them makes them an AI token. Let's have a look at I think Near. Somebody asked about Near. Near looks pretty decent, to be fair. It's probably one of the bigger market cap AI tokens. And again, similar to Bitcoin, it's putting in higher lows. So if we go to the 3-day time frame, higher low, low, slightly higher low. So we're looking pretty bullish on Near, double bottom as well. So you could see this move quite fast in the coming weeks. Yeah, it looks, and it does move. Look at, like, it pretty much moves vertical when it happens. So reclaimed the 200-day moving average as well today. If it closes above here, then looks pretty decent, to be fair. All right, let's dive in the chat. I think that's most of the CC Pro questions. Let me have a look. So everybody watching, do me a favour, drop a like on the stream, and it just helps the algorithm. Plus, we are, I would say, one of the few that actually turned up over the weekend when everybody else was crying on Twitter. So yeah, drop a like on the stream. What do I think of Polkadot? Polkadot I'm bullish on. I think price action, it was looking really nice before. Yeah, it was in a really nice ascending pattern before Friday. I think this will end up being a deviation, and we'll reclaim this quite quickly with a V-shaped recovery. And if we do that, then yeah, I don't see any issues. Interestingly, the 200-day moving average is coming into contact with this trend line pretty soon, so that'll act as quite a stubborn resistance, but overcome it, and it'll be a really strong support. So yeah, watch out for that. On the weekly, I actually wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of altcoins get back up to pretty much where they were trading before Friday's crash. If we have quite a bullish week, looks like we could have. So yeah, I think Polkadot will move nicely. VeChain, nice recovery on VeChain, to be fair. Nearly back in this range that's been in for ages. I think for VeChain though, like, it's still done nothing. I think this is the key level to break, this 3 cents. Not been above that since February. But yeah, it's just all the altcoin charts pretty much look the same. Not just because of Friday, just because Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, they've pretty much dominated the market for the last year. Just like the stock market's dominated by the Mag 7. Crypto's dominated by Bitcoin, and then to a certain extent some of the top altcoins. That breadth will open up as soon as more liquidity is added to the economy, which is coming. October, we'll definitely get a rate cut in 2 weeks. I think it's the 28th or 29th, the Fed meeting. So we'll get a rate cut. We will likely get something QE related, whether they reduce QT to 0, that will be bullish for markets, or they reduce their mortgage-backed security roll-off, which is like 50 billion, I think, or maybe yeah, I'm sure it's 50 billion a month they let roll off. If they reduce that, that'll be liquidity added to the system. That'll be bullish as well. So yeah, those two things plus a rate cut could be a very bullish meeting. This week we've got thousands of Fed speakers. So because there's no data coming out, I would imagine they're just going to regurgitate the same old talking points. So I don't think it's going to be massively impactful for the markets. But yeah, I would just kind of keep an eye on that. And then we might get PPI on Friday, but it's not confirmed because of the US government shutdown. Is there any chance of a double bottom retest in your opinion? Definitely not in the wicks. So like, I mean, for the altcoins, like we might get a double bottom in and around for XRP, say around 235. Like there's a chance. This wick, you can basically ignore this on charts. This wick didn't happen. So yeah, I would just ignore that. But yeah, we could get, of course we could get a double bottom. I think the higher we go, the less likely it is. It reminds me quite a lot of, in fact, I wonder if we can just do it with total 2. It looks very similar to what happened at COVID. And we did get, you see this massive liquidation, then we get the sell-off continue the next day, this wick low, but then we did get a double bottom, and then we moved higher. So yeah, there is of course a chance, but to be honest, the fact that this was a freak accident, like COVID was a pandemic, like people didn't know what was going on, the world was shutting down, you had the president on TV basically saying that people weren't allowed to leave their houses. Like, all that happened on Friday was somebody manipulated a massive crash. Once people come to terms with the fact that it was pure manipulation and it was a 1 in 5 year event, like that should be a buy signal, not a panic and, you know, crash the price again. So yeah. What do I think? To be honest, Borg's price was barely affected on Friday. Of course it sold off a little bit, but it never crashed to, like, I mean, Atom crashed to 1 cent on Binance. So Borg dumped with the market, but it's fully recovered pretty much now. And like I said on Saturday's stream, even at its lowest, it was still 2x the range we've been buying in for 2 years. So nobody should have been negative in the red on Friday with Borg. I think Borg will easily be $1 by the end of the year. Easy, $1. I think it could be much, much higher. But I'm just going to play conservative. I think, like, when I mean much higher, I mean $2 wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me because the buybacks are coming. The minute they start, or the buybacks might actually already be in place, but the buybacks are going to grow momentum. It's going to be like a snowball effect. So yeah, I expect the price to be way higher than $1. I don't think Friday matters. Do I think alt season will go into Q1? Yeah, it could do. It really depends where we move from here. Everything will depend on indicators in the charts. If we fly from here till the end of the year, get up high enough, we get oversold, then we could have a massive correction, then go again next year. I've said that for a while, that I thought that could happen. So yeah, in markets, it's not about having one locked in thesis and then just sticking to it forever. This is why I get so I don't know what the word is, but I love slagging all the bears on Twitter because they are locked into this bearish thesis and it doesn't matter what happens. Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote one of the best books, if you've not read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, go and read it. An amazing book. But he is on Twitter today predicting a massive stock market crash. But he's predicted it every year since 2014. Eventually he's going to be right. But the problem with a lot of bears is they get locked into a central way of thinking and it doesn't matter what happens. They're just going to keep thinking is bearish, is bearish, is bearish. In any market, in any asset, in any business, you have to be flexible. New data comes available, you need to be able to pivot. You know, when they first talked about tariffs, everybody thought tariffs were going to be inflationary. No inflation shown up through the tariffs. When they started talking about the trade war as a whole, everybody said the economy was going to crash. There was going to be a recession, Great Depression. None of that happened. They're still coming out with the same stuff. So, yeah, I think everybody just needs to be willing to change and pivot based on how the charts move, how prices move. Do we get ETFs? Do we get regulation? Do we get more than rate cuts? Do we get QE? If we get all those things, then we could top before the end of the year, and that's it for the cycle. But we could also go deep into, you could go into April 2026, and it wouldn't surprise me. Vantage will be available for public sale after TGE. We've got an update coming Friday on Vantage, so make sure you're in the Telegram group. ChainGPT, yeah, ChainGPT's a bit of a scam launchpad. Any other long-term buys similar to Borg? Anything that you guys are eyeing up post-bull run? And if you want tax advice, I'm not the guy for it. In terms of after the bull run, to be honest, I think you should. I've said this before. I think the next bear market's going to be a cleanse. Like, they're going to get rid of loads of altcoins, or they're not going to get rid of them. Altcoins are going to literally go extinct because you're going to have tokenized stocks. You're going to have tokenized real world assets. I saw a project that's tokenizing collectibles. There's tokenized. There's going to be tokenized everything. Tokenized property is going to be huge. So I do think if something doesn't pay you yield, you're not going to hold it through a bear market. And I think we'll see a massive exodus out of a lot of altcoins. If you bought, let's have a look at the altcoin market. Let's look at others chart. So the others chart is anything excluding the top 10. So, like, if you bought during the bear market, you're up. Let's say you bought the exact bottom. It's not likely. You're up 3x, which sounds amazing, but like, you've had to hold for 3 years at this point, which is still not bad compared to. But that's assuming you timed the exact bottom. If you didn't, if you bought in anywhere up here, you probably would have made more money investing in any stock, an index fund, and that's not factoring in inflation. So the whole time you've got inflation running at what, 8 to 11% roughly. So I can't see people doing that in the next bear market. I just can't see them holding on to an altcoin on the hope that in 4 years time it pumps 10x. To me, that would be crazy. I think there's better places to put their money. I think gold and silver are showing that, you know, over time, gold is a superior asset to the stock market even. The stock market priced in gold is flat. I don't know if I've got the chart actually. Yeah, I do. So this is the stock market priced in gold. And it's the same price it was in 2014. It's the same price it was 2008. Like, unless you bought at the bottom and sold at the top, you're pretty much, I mean, it goes back to 96, goes back to 72, like, but people think they're getting rich because in dollar terms, S&P's up, what, 15% this year. It's up like 200% in the last 5 years or something like that. But in real terms, they're flat. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a massive cleanse in the next bear market. So if a coin doesn't pay you, or a token doesn't pay you yield and has a decent business that can generate revenue and profits, then I would sell as much as you can, because it'll crash 95% if it doesn't crash 100. So I think we'll see a massive wipeout of a lot of tokens. Things like Uniswap, I think will do well because DEXs will be where all this tokenized RWAs are traded on through DEXs. So things like Uniswap will be fine. Anything that kind of has a buy, like Hyper or Hype, sorry, from Hyperliquid, I think it'll do really well this bull run, but it'll survive a bear market, assuming there's no massive hacks or anything. And then you've obviously got Bitcoin that I would be trying to rotate profits into in the next bear market. To be honest, Lee, I will do a project update in CC Pro for it, but there's quite a few. I'm sure they started with Pokemon cards, and they've added Rolexes, and I'm sure they've got other stuff. But yeah, tokenized everything, especially RWAs. So the mainnet for Alvara, I think, is officially launching tomorrow. We'll probably do a video or a live stream on it in the coming weeks. We'll make a basket. We'll show everybody our basket. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Polygon, to be honest, price-wise, still in this range. It actually looks, again, quite similar to a lot of altcoins. You know, you've got your low, higher low, which is decent given the crash. The problem with Polygon's chart is it migrated, when was that? 2024, so a year ago. So you've only got 12 months worth of data. It's also just an extension of it's just another EVM chain like Arbitrum, Avalanche. They're all just extensions of Ethereum. In my opinion, there's too many chains. All the chains will get swallowed up eventually by bigger players. Like, who's using Polygon? I just don't know. I very rarely see a project on Polygon. Why would you? All the TVL, all the users are on Ethereum, maybe Solana. Other than that, most of the chains don't have any use. So people were using Polygon because the fees were a lot cheaper than Ethereum. But since Ethereum flipped to the Shanghai update, I'm sure it was, Ethereum's fees are okay. I'm sure on Friday night when the crash was happening, Ethereum's fees spiked to like $100. But by Saturday morning, they were back down at $1. So, like, yeah. And even then, they're still way cheaper than back in 2021. Like, Ethereum fees were like more than your transaction in some cases. So, good question, actually. The thematics on Swissborg are exactly what Alvara baskets are, except Alvara baskets are on chain. So, it's actually minted. It's actually a new token standard, Alvara. On top of that, anyone can make one. So on Swissborg, the thematic, they're already created and you can't make any changes. On Alvara, I can make a bundle of 5. I can make a bundle of as many cryptos as I want. But let's, for example, say I want to make a bundle with 5 tokens in it. It's on chain, everybody can see it. But then the person creating it can earn fees from people copying. So it's kind of the way a hedge fund creates like a ETF or an index fund, and people then buy it and then follow along, and they take a fee. On top of that, it burns Alvara every single time and buys Alvara. So that means that there's constant buy pressure on the token, which is very bullish for especially MD and CC Pro, because we obviously took part in the seed round. I think it's still trading below seed round prices. Let me load it up. Yeah, so 11 cents, up 25% today, but to be honest, not great. To be honest, I've said from day one, is this all hinges on the product. And I think the product looks good. Let's see when we start using it. But I'm pretty bullish. I know what they've got planned, and it's a no-brainer for me that anyone, anywhere can create a basket of tokens. They can tell their friends to buy it. If they've got an audience, they can tell the audience to buy it. I think people will create loads and loads of baskets, which will be bullish. I think there was a few more questions. Let's see. I don't know if Borg will hit $1 by the end of the week, but end of the month doesn't seem crazy. I mean, we're 10 days in. This is ridiculous as well. If we actually look at last week's candle, everybody's talking about this, the 102k that we hit, but we actually reached 126k. We put in an all-time high and then flipped bearish. So Bitcoin was actually pretty bullish last week until Friday night. Somebody asks about Atom. To be honest, I've never really paid too much attention to it. It's not one. It's kind of like a legacy coin. I always talk about the legacy coins. It does look like it could have bombed. It kind of needs to get back inside the 380. So it needs to kind of reclaim that 380 level. Yeah. Again, just ignore this wick. It's just nonsense. Hitting 1 cent. It's not real. You just can't think of it as a real price move. But yeah, the other thing, so back to my point at the start. So somebody was asking if they've got stables, should they wait for a retracement? Some crypto is very, very cheap. So Uniswap at 7, you'd probably say, okay, it's up quite a bit from when it was trading sub 5. But if you look at Polkadot, this is bear market lows. So like, how much cheaper do you want a token? Litecoin, after its recent move, probably you would say it's not one that you would buy. But if we go through the market, I mean, Chili's, this is pretty much bear market lows, cheaper than it's been since 2021. Done Polkadot. Algorand looks okay actually. It's just strange for Algorand. VeChain we've already covered, bear market lows. Filecoin, just I don't know what's going on with Filecoin. Absolutely falling off a cliff. Atom we looked at. Even Chainlink, like, is still down quite a bit from its recent move. So I wouldn't buy it up here, but it's down 27% since the 18th of August. Sushi, you know I'm a big fan of Sushi. I talk about it all the time. Bear market lows. So I get that people obviously they don't want to buy today and then tomorrow we drop 10% or 5% or whatever. But at the same time, the upside is so huge in crypto right now that are you going to grumble over a few percent if it does a 5x or 10x over the next 6 months? You're not. Like, you're not going to look back and be like, I would have made an extra couple £100 if I had bought on Saturday instead of on Monday, or, you know, if I'd waited 24 hours and bought. I think the market just looks primed for upside, and it's very reminiscent of this period in here for XRP. So in this period here, everybody was fed up with the market. We had the big August crash. If you were in CC Pro during that, you know we were getting calls that the bull market wasn't happening. There wasn't going to be a bull run. I remember it very well. And then this was August crash here, wasn't it? Yeah, the 5th of August. I need to remind myself what actually caused it. But the 5th of August, Monday, I remember we were getting DMs, we were getting messages saying bull run wasn't happening, World War III, recession, all the same stories we're hearing now. And I know several people sold their XRP in September 2024. So that was here. And then look what happened. It literally ran away. And it does feel like the market is a bit like that right now. Like, it's not going to do this tomorrow. It's not going to do it this week. But in the next few weeks, I have a feeling that we will see this type of price action for altcoins across the market. It does feel like we're in this kind of period here where everybody's fed up. Everybody's calling for no bull run. We're never going to get an alt season. It's Bitcoin only now. ETFs have ruined Bitcoin. We're hearing so much bearish sentiment. And nothing drives sentiment lower than sideways. When it's crashing, people are annoyed, but they're still interested. When it's pumping, obviously everybody's invested and everybody's involved. Sideways is worse than crashing markets. So I think if we had a few weeks of sideways, everybody would be fed up and everybody would start saying it's not happening until 2026, and then that's when we see this massive move. So yeah, of course, yeah, Trump won the election, which sparked the pump, but it's just, there's always an excuse. That's just the news story that goes along with it. Q4 is always bullish. Every Q4 there's a story. So this Q4 it'll probably be ETFs and rate cuts. Last Q4 it was Trump winning the election. 2023, I'm sure Q4 in 2023 was bullish. XRP ran 55% in 2023, and that was in the middle of kind of bear market. So yeah, there's always an excuse. Trump winning the election, of course, was a catalyst, but Q4 is timed. They use these news stories to justify the price action. What's going on with Opulus? To be fair, it's kind of recovered back to last week's prices. On the weekly, it looks like it's starting to build some support. Obviously down, but it's such a low market. In fact, what is the market cap? I'm sure it's tiny. Oh yeah, $12 million. Like, what was the market cap up here? So it was 50 million in 2024. What was that? Yeah, 12th of May it hit 50 million. I don't know why this doesn't go back. Ah, there we go. 85 million there. 93 back in March 2024. So yeah, I mean, the reason I wanted to look at the market cap is it takes so little money to move the price. You can actually see it here. So are they on a DEX? It would be easier. But you look at the depth. $600 would drop if somebody sold $600 the Opulus right now, it'll move the price 2%. So, and if they bought $300, it would move the price 2% up. So, yeah, it's not going to take a lot to move the price of Opulus. It's just the frustrating thing about the market is there's actually not a lot of liquidity, and a lot of the liquidity is just shifting around. If we look at Total 2 again, you can see basically since, when was this? The 11th of August, we've just been in a bit of a sideways range. So the money's just flown in, flown out, flown in, flown out, and it's just rotating around the space. So you'll see one day something I'll do. What pump today? There was Syscoin up 16% today. Tomorrow it'll be down 5% and something else will move. The money's just rotating around the space right now. We're not really seeing that massive influx of new capital. Of course, we're grinding higher slowly but surely. But we're kind of just in a sideways market at the moment. As soon as we start to see an influx of capital, and it's sitting, to be fair, and this is why I showed this earlier, like, it's sitting in stablecoins. We're at 6.5% of the entire crypto markets in stablecoins, and every single day the stablecoin makes a new all-time high. So there is a huge percentage of stablecoins sitting. Then you factor in the money market funds. There's 7 trillion in money market funds. So a money market fund's just where hedge funds park their money to earn yield from government debt. They are currently earning anywhere between 3.5 and 4% on their money. That's going to drop once the Fed cuts at the end of the month. At that point, they're going to start looking for a new, like, to be honest, I don't really understand why you would put something your money into something that earns you 3% yield when you know inflation's at 8% or 11% in real terms. But anyway, they do it. Once those yields start dropping, they're going to have to go and find somewhere else to put that cash, and I think crypto will be a big benefit of it, because everything's primed for crypto to soak up money with ETFs and regulation being passed, and also the big banks starting to get involved. It's normally bullish, and that also will bring regulation that helps price, because it will outlaw the wash trading, it will outlaw the use of customer funds. So one of the biggest accusations against Binance right now is that they're using customers' Solana to dump the price. ETFs, institutions, regulation, that'll get rid of all that, which means price should actually be able to go much higher. Yeah, this is MV. I need to find who it is. I'll publish it on CC Pro when I find it. BlackRock, I'm sure it's BlackRock, named crypto gaming as the most underrated sector of crypto. I'm sure it was BlackRock. If it wasn't BlackRock, it was somebody else that's massive. They think, and the reason for that is, I think I've said this before, but one of the easiest way to onboard people to crypto is through gaming. If you think about who's going to drive crypto forward over the next 10 years, it's going to be people that are under 21, say, right now. They're going to inherit a lot of assets. We're about to see the biggest wealth transfer in history as the boomers start to pass on all that wealth that they've accumulated over the last 50 years. It's going to get passed on to the younger generations. In my opinion, the new generations aren't going to want to hold a property portfolio on, especially in real life. They'll buy tokenized property, they'll buy crypto, but right now they're playing games. And if crypto's in games, if you start getting collectibles in games, then people are going to be onboarded to crypto early on, and then when they grow up, they're going to invest in crypto. So I think that's part of the theme. So I think Web3 gaming will make a massive comeback. I think we'll see a massive run for gaming tokens. MV's one of them. But yeah, I think gaming's really struggled with the lack of liquidity, lack of interest, lack of new retail users in the space. Ali's late to the party. Yeah, we spoke about GTA 6. That would be a prime example, but also if you think of, and this is the challenge for Web3 gaming, if you think of FIFA, for example, in FIFA you buy, I don't game, sadly, but in FIFA you can buy player packs, right? So if you buy Ronaldo and it costs, I don't know, £50, if you change your mind and you don't want Ronaldo anymore, like, wouldn't it be great if you could trade that with somebody? And then think about other games. So if you play Call of Duty and you unlock a special gun, then can you sell your old gun to somebody else but actually retain the money? There's massive amounts of money in these game economies, and right now it's trapped. So that money is, you spend money and then you unlock stuff, but you can never get money out the game. Web3 gaming untaps all that economy, and it's huge potential. But also, once that's untapped, the incumbents like PlayStation and Microsoft are going to lose a big source of their revenue, because people are going to trade within games as opposed to always buying off them. So you can see why the incumbents are probably very anti Web3 gaming, but I think long term it's just a shift that will happen. People will want to buy something, and then when they change their mind, they get bored, they can sell it, or if it's scarce, the value might go up, and then they can make money off it. And I think that's how Web3 gaming will develop, in my personal opinion. Total market cap, yeah, I think you're probably right. Yeah, Bailey, I I wouldn't write off a token before the bull run. I've said this before. Judge tokens on their performance at the end of the bull run. This has got a 2.46 market cap, a bit of buy pressure, and this could move so quickly. So yeah. What's your prediction? Yeah, if we look at the fibs, I'm sure we've done this recently, but for me, I think straw. Yeah, that 9 to 10 trillion looks about right. If we think gold is now what, a $25 trillion asset, so can Bitcoin try and get a percentage of that market cap, and then that flows into crypto, and then we see the entire space go. Yeah, 9 trillion, 10 trillion, wouldn't surprise me. I think definitely we'll hit this number here. Interestingly, the Bitcoin CME futures premium is back, $116,125. Bitcoin spot is just a 115,705. So a bit of a premium developing already. That just tells you institutions are back buying Bitcoin. And I think, if I'm right, BlackRock's IBIT ETF should cross 100 billion in AUM in the next couple of days. If it's not hit it today, it'll probably hit it once Bitcoin gets back above 120k. 100 billion AUM for the IBIT ETF. It's the fastest ETF in history to hit $100 billion in AUM. It's done it in less than 2 years. The last quickest was like 50 years, I believe. And what even more impressive is it only makes IBIT the 19th biggest ETF based on AUM, which just tries to show how much actual capital is available for these markets. Yeah, insane move, insane buying power from BlackRock, regardless of what we all think of them. Where is IBIT? I thought I had the ETF here. But Ali, that has been covered. You will need to go back to the start and watch again, because yeah, we covered it in depth. I can't believe the question I spent the most time on, the person that asked it wasn't even on the stream. But yeah, we covered it in depth. Go back, take it in, and then yeah, see what action you're going to take, and let us know in CC Pro. That is us for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. If you don't know what CC Pro is, if you're new to the stream, CC Pro is our private members community. We have daily updates, we've got TA, we've got a trading section, we've got a podcast. We have everything we need to keep you safe, sane, and try to make as much money as possible in the markets. For everyone that's not in CC Pro, one of the benefits of being in CC Pro is during the weekend we were on hand to provide people with kind of just somebody to be there during crashing markets and keep everybody calm. It is an invaluable service, in my opinion, and you get to chat to like-minded investors and crypto investors. Plus, we do a lot of members only content. The reason we're doing this for everybody tonight is simply because Friday was chaos, and in my opinion it's time to move on and upwards and much, much higher. So yeah, if you're not in CC Pro, the link I've just dropped in the chat, get involved, and hopefully we'll see you there. And I'll be back with a lot more content in the coming days. Until then, I will see you very soon.